It's Tia. It's been a Mississippi minute, but we bite, baby.
What's up, Pynk Posse? It's your girl Jaa, and yep, we back at it like a crack addict.
It's your girl Jiggy, aka Tanika. Listen, pull up on us. It's time to cut up, cause we back.
What's up, Pynk Posse? It's your girl Koji, and we're back. Pynk Sunday Radio.
So, on Twitter, often, especially around the episode that we did for the rewatch this week, Last Call for Alcohol, there's always the discussion or the talk about what a horrible manager Woddy is. There's always talk about Woddy should be doing this better, or Murda is going to need to find someone else to manage because Woddy is not doing X, Y, and Z. And that talk always confuses me because I really don't have much of a problem with Woddy as a manager. So I just wondered how y'all felt about that. First of all, do you think Woddy is a good or bad manager? And if you think he's a bad manager, why? Because I'm confused.
So I don't think Woddy is a bad manager. From the discussion that we had during the show today and just thoughts after rewatching this time around, shout out to a show you can watch 27 times and still get a different perspective every time you watch it, because I promise before season 2 I've watched this episode a million times. But I feel like this was the very beginning of Murda's career. And so also maybe the very beginning of Woddy being Lil Murda's manager. And I feel like Woddy knows where Murda is. Sometimes you got to baby step things. You know, as we see, he didn't even have stage presence yet. So, you know, his first cut that he was trying to get played in the club, although it's one of my favorites, well, no, I won't say favorites, I like it, you know, was Sit on My Lap. You know, he didn't even have a banger out yet. So I feel like Woddy, it was this is where you are right now. We're trying to get you heard somewhere other than your trap house bathroom. So, you know, then as you get a few things under, like you said, this was his first opportunity to see Murda on a stage. And thank God for practice. I believe that, you know, we get into the thing, Murda's like, let's go on tour. I don't think that Woddy isn't good maybe at what he does yet, but I think he knows exactly where Murda is. And it's like, you're not here yet. Let's take some steps. Let's get you ready. Let's graduate you to these spaces. And so we find this because Keyshawn has been a performer for however long she's been at the Pynk. She may not be on, you know, global stages, but she's a performer. She's able to just get right up there, whereas Murda's like, I'm nervous, and what have you. And so when she's all like, well, where your brand deals? You know, this, Woddy isn't there yet, just like Murda isn't there yet. So I think I'd love to see him grow as a manager for season 3. Now that Murda has more acclaim fame.
You brought up Sit on My Lap, and I think that kind of tied into the question. On Twitter, it was a conversation, I don't know if I started it or someone else started it, that Woddy was dead-ass wrong for not telling Murda that Sit on My Lap was trash. But I also think that as his manager, it's okay for him to let the artist be an artist, like to leave the artistic stuff to Murda. And if that's the song that you got, well, then we're going to figure out what we can do with this one song. And it was okay. I mean, he should have, as a friend, being like, baby, this ain't it. But as a manager, I felt it was fine for him to not bring that up to Murda. I don't know how y'all felt about that.
I definitely think it's hard to judge someone's creative because art is subjective. I could look at something and see a masterpiece, and you might look at it and be like, what's all this broken-ass glass strewn together? So maybe Woddy thinks Sit on My Lap is a banger.
That's what I was about to say. He might not think it's bad. He might be like, he might have given Murda the Trap Reggae Soul title, and that's how we get to Sit on My Lap, because he might not think it's bad. And the one thing about one of the things about the music industry specifically is you never know what's going to hit. So, and you don't know, like, because we don't know how we got to Murda recorded Sit on My Lap. Like, this could be like Murda has been a super perfectionist, doesn't want to actually put anything on, you know, the old school term, on wax, a demo or anything, and then he finally gets him to get Sit on My Lap recorded, and he's like, this is some slob, but shit, it's better than nothing, because we've been talking about doing something for a minute here. Now we actually done something. Let's go ahead and market this, and if we can get people listening to this and get some type of traction. Even, like, in the world of social media, even if your shit is trash, motherfuckers will do a whole TikTok dance on some trash. Like, they'll have a whole, all that stuff. So even if it's some trash, that gets traction, and now people actually know Lil Murda's name. And then now, if we get to the next level of stuff, I don't know what they would have done if Murda hadn't met Uncle Clifford, because that's when everything really changed. But I think part of it is we don't know the process to get to Sit on My Lap, and it may have been, well, let's do something. I would say today's show made me think differently, because when I saw the question last night, I was like, nah, Woddy is trash as a manager. And I because it's all the stuff that Tanika and we all talked about today. Why has he never been on anybody's stage ever? Why doesn't he have the tremolo and all that on anything that he records up until he gets with DJ Never Scared? Why it's like they're in the Pynk, all of them are from Chucalissa. Why does Woddy have absolutely, like, no contact? Like, why don't they know Uncle Clifford or Diamond or any contact with anybody that could have brought them into the Pynk? Everything is, like, blind, let's do it. And they're doing great for that. And it's probably because they have been working, because there's a little luck in success when you are, like, actually working and that kind of stuff. But it is one of those things, but at the same time, like when we talk about it today, Murda's only been out a couple of years at max. So, and from what I'm gathering, he wasn't, like, actively doing music before he went in. He was gang member, sex work, gang member, stick-up kid, probably committed some murders, how he got the name. Then he goes to prison. It may have been in him, but I think prison is what actually, like, this is one of those bad situations but good outcomes. Prison actually gave him the time to slow down and think about what he wanted to do. Because when you are in the gang and doing that shit and trying to get away from sex work, the music has probably always been there, but when are you thinking about recording or writing when you're in the life? But you're in prison, ain't much else to do. So that's probably when it started really, like, developing. And then maybe if they are brothers like we think they are, they're so close, he's talking to Woddy about, hey, I think I really got something here with this music thing. He may have slid Woddy a couple of things, and Woddy was like, you know, he's like, he sees the shine, he saw the potential. It might not have been sounding great, but it was like, well, shit, I'll manage you, and let's do this. Because whatever Woddy thought about the music, and his common thing throughout the whole show is he knew Murda was the chosen one. He knew that of all of them, Murda was going to be the one to get them out. And I think that was there through childhood, and he didn't know how Murda was going to get them out. And then when Murda was like, hey, I want to do music, it was like, that's it. And so it's like, I don't know what I'm doing, but you're the chosen one, and we're going to figure this shit out.
I think also what affects people's opinion of Woddy as a manager. I don't remember if I said this on the show today, but they judge Woddy in proximity to Rome, and I think Rome had a whole like blue guap business behind him, and Woddy doesn't have that. And also, you know, Rome was there to cause confusion. I think about in season 2, I think it was the Dirty Dozen episode when they're in the hearse and Rome is talking about why you don't have publishing and why Woddy is not doing this, and that, and the third thing. And I feel like people say, yeah, why isn't Woddy doing those things? And I think, well, Murda's not there yet. Like, Woddy is focusing on, let's get you on this track that DJ Never Scare has. Let's get the public learning your name and knowing who you are and singing your songs. And then when we get to a time where we have to worry about publishing, we'll worry about those things. So I think just the proximity of Rome being around them affects how people look at Woddy as Murda's manager.
And I think it's not even just Rome. I think it's what we think of when we think of management. Like, as we see typically when we're hearing a track or a new artist, we're hearing them on the end of this process. Like if you look at even the Migos and QP, like, I think that's his name, QP. Like, QP wasn't like this super manager or nothing when he first signed the Migos and did that. A lot of that is learned, and now they're the Migos. If you look at Gucci, his book is actually really good, surprisingly. But he talked about him being an artist and then finding talent and managing them. And what he does now as a manager is very different from when he like, I think you're talented and I can do something with you. And he was an artist that didn't really know the game. I think that's the comparison too, is we're seeing the acts come out that are polished. We didn't see this part. We're not seeing the Migos come into Gucci's studio with fake jewelry and that's like click, 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 click. And Gucci was like, if y'all don't take that fucking shit off, and they're like, what are y'all doing? And like Gucci had to like, what are y'all, like that kind of stuff. We don't see them. We see these artists that have these songs and stuff like that. I'm sure every artist we see has to sit on my lap that we've never heard because we heard the Fallen. And they did all the shit on the sit on my lap. And those managers supported their sit on my lap because, again, they saw the talent and then they figured out the same way Woddy is figuring out. They figured out who to get him to, who to get that artist to get to the Fallen. Because when I've always been in business, which is my realm, I don't have to be the guy. I just have to know who the guy is. I just, like Henry Ford said, I don't know how to do almost anything here, but if I push this button, the person that does know how to do what you're asking is on the other side of this button. And I think that's the part Tanika made me realize today that Woddy is really good at. I'm not the guy, but I'm going to find who the guy is. And because he did get that tour together hella quick. Like, when it was like, and it, you know, it was like, you know, we in a hearse and stuff like that, but they got paid. Like, the clubs let them in. The clubs paid them. There was, the clubs were filled up. So for all Woddy's shortcomings, he was good. But I think that the other thing that makes us think about Woddy as a manager in a bad light is what Keyshawn said when they first, like, got together. It was like, he's just a weird-ass dude at the funeral home. You don't got no brand, you got no post, because in 2019 world, that shit matters, the social media posts and stuff like that. But this is a dude that's been in prison for the last 2 years. What the fuck you know about social media? This is a dude who's run a funeral home all his life. Shoot, I'm like, this is going to sound bad, but the clients come to him. You don't have to advertise on social media. Like, that's not something they've ever had to do. So I think we're also judging it from our worlds outside of when we get to the finished product and not the actual process.
That makes a lot of sense. Because I remember I had people cracking up when I tell them 2 Chainz's first name was Titty Boy.
Yes, it was. Mm-hmm. Yes, it was.
When I remember seeing those posters when I was still living in Chicago, and being like, Titty Boy, what the hell is this? You know. And now he's 2 Chainz, and his music has changed, and so absolutely, people don't realize it's a whole process behind by the time you see a person. They've gone through a process, you know, which is why everybody thinks they can jump out and be a rapper or an actor, a basketball player, or whatever. They think you just jump out and here I am. That's not the truth. So,
and I think that's part of what's happening too. Like, I don't have anything against her. Like, you know, people that are listening don't come at me. But like Ice Spice, like I don't actually know how she blew up, but I don't know if it was TikTok, so I don't know what it was, but it's like you put a record on something that goes viral. Now you got a following, but absolutely no freaking artist development. Like, she's got this song that she goes on the Summer Jam stage, and she had no stage presence. She was lip-syncing. The lip-syncing wasn't right. She was out of breath. She had, like, walked 3 steps, and she was out of breath. And it is that microwave society because that didn't happen before. Like, so when you're on the thing where you can put it on TikTok, somebody does a dance to it, and all of a sudden, like, you're charging $50,000 to walk through a club. You charging $150,000 for the Summer Jam stage. But then you get on there and you don't know what the fuck to do because there's been absolutely no artist development. So one of the things that I do like about this is every stage that Murda hit, he was developed for. Like, in some way or form. Like, it wasn't, we put Fallen on SoundCloud or TikTok, and all of a sudden everybody's talking about Lil Murda, and he has no idea how to put together a song. By the time we get to Fallen, he has gone from Sit on My Lap to Mine to Fallen with DJ Never Scared. So now he knows the elements to put together a good song. So after Fallen, everything's a bop. Because it wasn't Sit on My Lap, somebody did Fallen for him and put it on SoundCloud. Now we need you to make another one, and you have no idea what to do because you weren't part of the process. We get the Champagne Campaign. Murda has all the stage presence. Like, he's, and he's got the crowd involved, him and Miss Mississippi. He's doing all the shit, even in the video, his presence, but that's because there was some preparation with this scene in 107 with Mississippi and him getting on the stage at the Pynk and, oh shit, they know my song word by word and his confidence building up. Then it's all this stuff happening, and now we get the Champagne Campaign. And I think, again, we're so used to the microwave and stuff being thrown out, people just don't appreciate the actual process and what that does for artist development. Because without any of that, you don't have the Murda that has enough confidence to go on a freaking tour.
I'll let you know about a movie coming out called Southern Gospel. It's a story of a man overcoming brokenness and never surrendering the dream on his journey to find the gospel. The movie stars our fave, J. Alphonse Nicholson, Max Eric, and Caitlin Nakin. Tickets are now available at southerngospel-tickets.com. I've got my tickets. Do you?
Black Odyssey. It's currently running until March 26th at Classic Stage Company in New York. The play is written by Obie-winning playwright Marcus Gardley and directed by Stevie Walker Webb. This vibrant reimagining of the Odysseus saga is set in modern-day Harlem, telling the epic tale of Ulysses Lincoln, a soldier facing the most daunting of voyages to reunite with his family. While fate may seem in control of Ulysses' destiny, his ancestors and their buried history will help guide his journey home. The play stars James T. Alfred, Timidayo Ame, Jamon Cole, Harriet D. Foy, Marcus Gladney Jr., Sean Boyce Johnson, Adrian C. Moore, Lance Cody Williams, and D. Woods. You can purchase tickets at ci.ovationtix.com.
Appreciate y'all for listening to the show. You can find us on Blog Talk Radio by using the link bit.ly/Pynk Sunday. For Apple Podcasts, go to pvalleystarz.com. Make sure after listening to the replay, you leave a 5-star rating in the review, as well as a subscribe. For Google Podcasts, go to pynksundayradio.com/Google Podcasts, as well as Spotify at pynksundayradio.com/Spotify. Hope to see y'all at the next episode.